Alright, hello, and let's try this again. Welcome to Diane Writes. Sorry for the delay. That should hopefully straighten everything out. No, I actually had already rebooted the computer. This was a matter of letting the visual catch up, so hopefully that has solved the problem. Sometimes when I run that start screen for a while, I've noticed that it tends to screw things up, so doesn't matter. I'm switching over to, what am I on? I'm on Streamlabs OBS. I'm switching over to OBS Live. I just haven't had the opportunity to do it yet because too much going on. So we're hopefully going to have that going by Sunday, and in the meantime, we'll just live with the problems. It's totally, it's fine. Let me know if there's any more problems. And hello, James. Hello, Longstaze. Good to see you. Hi, Amelie. Hi, Claire. Hi, Rowan. Hi, Daz. Hello, Kayatan. Hello, Akimotos. Haven't seen you in a bit. How are you? Hello, Purple Heart. Hi, Author Goddess. Hi, Burning Nightingale. I think that's everybody who said hello in the chat. If I missed you, let me know. All the roaring and growling is not a song. No, that's Angry Were Bunny is what's going on there. But no, that's okay. It's really fine. So you're getting like little screen today because I look terrible because I'm really tired. So I'm not going to be on big screen today, and I may just blank out the video when I'm working. Did I hear the news? No, I did not. Do tell me there, Author Goddess. What's in the news? What's the thing? Sorry you had to wait on an ad, Claire. It's such a pain in the ass. Their whole thing at Twitch is like, oh, you know, we want ads. Support the streamers. Yeah, you know what? Your ads give me pennies, right? Pennies. Fractions of pennies, right? You know what supports the streamers? Subs and bits. That's what supports the streamers. Your stupid ads support the corporations and you, right? And none of us streamers care, really. We'd be much happier if we just get rid of the ads. It's so insignificant. All right, but anyway. Oh, hello, Melody Relody. Good to see you. I'm surprised to see you up considering the time you last streamed. Okay, I've been shot again, says Author Goddess. That's awesome. Excellent. And Author Goddess says I got my cover for Blood of the Moon. Yes! Are you wanting to show it, or are you going to do like a cover reveal stream or something? Because that would be awesome, but I want to see. Aw, Claire says, didn't get any active viewers in my interaction-dependent streams. I just took my lurkers and raided. Ah, that's sad. Did I read the chapter I shared on Aaron's stream? No, I did not, Kayatan. I'm sorry. Half the sub amount supports Twitch too. Yeah, that's true, Oxtaze. And so why they're so insistent on ads, just absolutely, you know, corporate bullshit. Yeah, and even ad block doesn't take care of them. I know, they run on mine too. I have ad block. Stretch says, at least that's a motivation to subscribe to a streamer as you don't get the ads. There is that, right? And speaking of which, since we're coming really close to 500 followers, we're too shy now. Too shy, right? When we get 500 followers, we're going to start introducing some subscriber-only content. It won't be a lot, but it'll be things like I'll do live readings of my books and my stories. You know, maybe there'll be an occasional music stream. You know, let me know what you want to see, right? Like, I do tarot readings, I could do that. You know, there's a bunch of things that could be done. And it won't be more than once a week. That's the other thing, right? But there, you know, just something to thank the subscribers for their support, because it really helps the channel, and, you know, it helps me keep things going, and I appreciate that, right? So, it's only 9 p.m. here. Oh, okay, Melody, I'm sorry. I can be a night owl and an early bird. This is fine. If you've not seen Melody Relody, she does a writing stream at like, oh god, 2 a.m. my time, something like that. I've been catching it the past couple of nights because, you know, you know, because the writing community supports each other here on Twitch, right? So I ended up there, and it's a silent stream, but she's very interactive in the chat, and she's got this really neat graphic where you can watch what she's typing on her keyboard, because it's like a keyboard graphic. And she's been working on her dissertation. She just finished her last essay for university, and congratulations, and you should definitely check out her channel. So I'll do a link in the chat here if I can get the chat to work. There we go. I really should just set up a shout out command, but you know what the problem is that I never know what to type for those as a general message. I think I'd really rather just, you know, do the personal shout out and talk about people. Right? I think it's more fun. All right, Author Goddess does have a picture. We want to look at Author Goddess's cover. I'm gonna quickly finish catching up here just to make sure I haven't missed anything. I know that I heard a ding, and that means that James trying to get attention with the bits. Oh, he threw a bit. Oh, just cuz. Oh, thank you, James. You're cool. That's awesome. Melody says, aha, yep, I finished my undergrad degree today, celebrating by plotting. Bwahaha, excellent. Well, you've come to the right place, because I promise I will shut up mostly. Oh, you got a pretty prestigious follow, Claire. That's great. Ah, you know what? I didn't put up the closed captioning. I'm sorry. I will do that. Just a second. I'm trying to get in the habit of that. If it comes up on your screen and you don't want it there, then just, you can click it off. Right, there's a button that lets you go, and then you don't have to look at it. But I figured that it helps people. I try to be accessible. This is why I read out what people have said in the chat when I am responding to it. And I feel like I can put this up and be convenient for our hearing impaired people too. So, I mean, not that it's the best closed captioner in the world, but it's better than nothing, right? Yes, you want to really support the streamer? Find the Patreon. There is that. There is that. A very good point, Oxhaze. Forgive my impatience. I'm so excited to be back, says Claire, but I noticed there were a couple redeems. There are? Okay, just a second. I didn't see them in my chat window here. I may have to get you guys to post the links, but no problem. We can look at that. I have managed rewards queue up in my stream manager, so I'm looking at that in my monitor here. Today I'm going to space them out a bit better. We're going to work first. Just so you know. Okay, we have a showcase someone else. Oh, Claire, that's nice of you. So Claire is willing to use a showcase someone else slot to give someone else an opportunity. So just let me know if you want to take that. First come, first serve, according to Claire's decision. And what else we got? Okay, does this look right to you? From Anstaze. Okay, and this was written during camp. I wanted to Sable to read it then, but because of camp, she couldn't. Okay. And then... Okay, and then I see your chapter in here, Kayetan. Did, okay, yeah. I'm going to point out, right, that I have a new restriction in that there will be a grand total of 3, count them, unos, dos, tres, right, showcase or edit redeems total in the course of the stream. And the reason why I've done this is because I really need to actually work too, right? So regardless of whether it says there's still more to be redeemed, I can't make a total between the 3 different rewards. So that's it. It looks like I have 3. That's it. There's no more. Sorry, guys. I just have to do that. I gotta put some limits on things for myself, right? So, oh yeah, it's morning in Europe. Okay. Oh, Melody says maybe a mic soon since I have finished my academic work, so the audio won't be me cursing constantly. Can relate, can relate. Everybody here will know the reason why the channel is marked mature is because I swear. Oh, that's a good point, Stretch. If you get a shout-out command set up, you can also have it so us mods can put in the command as well. Well, then there's no reason not to do that, and I will get that done. Maybe I'll do it as soon as I'm done. James BitHabit also makes him top of the cheers and bits for your stream as well, points out Rowan. That is a fact. Yeah, hee Patreon, says Akimotos. Yeah, Akimotos is one of my patrons. Patronage, even at the $1 level, gets you all of the serialized fiction that I'm doing, which is in both the Toy Soldier Saga and the Weird West. Then there's, you know, different rewards the higher you go. Kayatan says, I'm angry because of the abortion law the current government passed. Women with pregnancy complications, which endanger their lives, are denied abortion because doctors are afraid of being persecuted for it. You know, I looked up recently, you know, what is the best place in the world to be a woman? Right now, Scandinavia, but pretty much. But Canada's like number 5. We go up and down. You know, like there's like a fraction of a percentage point separating the Scandinavian countries and everybody in Canada and that group, right? And I'm like, if this is the best we can do, we have a long way to go. And that is horrible. And I keep watching Poland going, down the list, you know? That sucks. Okay, Bob, good to see you. Erin is set up on OBS Live now. Thank you very much for your help, and I will be doing mine shortly. My question is, when I opened up OBS Live on my computer, I did not see his scenes or his scene collections that he made set up on the computer that I have. Is this where I would have to go to those JSON files you were talking about to move them or copy them over to get his scenes? Let me know. Melody says, it's so fun seeing a full world anvil. I have like 5 wiki pages up on mine at the moment. Ready for summer world building. Yes, summer camp is coming. And we will also be simultaneously running the tourney of Tales with summer camp. So you can count your words towards your houses if you are interested. My closed caption thing covers my cam stream. Yeah. I don't know. My options are bottom of the screen or bottom right hand corner. So, oh, Erin showcased it. I will have a look though, Kayatan. Okay, thanks. All right. Sorry. You know what? Before I get too far, let's put up the sprint timer. That way people can get to work on their sprints. And I will look at Author Goddess's cover before I do anything else, before I get too far. Because I want to see. I'm a fan of her Rune Spell series. Yes! That's a bit of a departure from the previous covers, but I like it. You can still tell it's part of the same series. I'll show you her series here. Oh, another dinghy. Oh, thank you, Lady Writes. Much appreciated. I really appreciate the support and encouragement. You're awesome. Thank you. How are you? I can relate. I caught the beginning of Lady Writes' stream this morning as well. I should shout her out too, because she is also a writing streamer and she's fun. Lady Writes. There we go. And she was like, there's no camera today because I'm not presentable. I tried, but I'm not. And I went, can relate. This is me today. Which is why you're only getting the small screen. Okay, Rune Spell series. Sarah. Rana. Okay. For some reason they haven't put the 3rd book in your series there yet. Okay, that's not gonna work then. You know what? Maybe images work better because I'm just trying to show the cover, right? Okay, so this is the cover of Too Weird. This is first book. This is Fluffy Bunny. You may notice a familiar name having blurred that one. And then the chains to bind. Oh, I blurred that one too. Cool, okay. Awesome. Alright, yeah. And this is the fourth one, so that bright red is definitely different, but it draws attention and it's appropriate for the book, so that's great. Okay. Now. Oh, yeah, the third one is someone else jump in on Claire used a showcase someone else slot and said if anyone needs it. So if someone wants to jump in on that, and I'd encourage you guys to give a chance to somebody who doesn't usually have a lot of channel points to spend, because, you know, if you can. If not, there's room. You know. Yeah, it does go well with the rest of the covers. It looks great. Bob said, a productive day, a regional map, 2 battle maps, 2 combat encounters, 3 potential social encounters, any of which may be needed for a session tonight. That is awesome. Claire asked, question, is there any point in starting the writing of a comic script I may never have an artist for? I would say yes, and here's why. First of all, obviously this idea has been on your mind for a while, so you should write it to get it out of your brain, if nothing else. The second reason is that if you have the text of the comic, you may attract an artist who's interested in writing it when they see what you're doing, or drawing for it when they see what you're doing. So that's why. Author Goddess is like, Finland! Iceland, actually. Well, Iceland is actually the lowest standard for women currently in the top Scandinavian countries there. But to be fair, like I said, everything's separated by like a fraction of a percentage point. So it's really not that applicable. It's a good place. The subtitle box can be clicked and dragged around. Yes, it can. You can do that. If you do not want it there, but you want to see it, you can move it. Yeah, that's totally fine. I can't set it to go anywhere else, though, to start. I can move it for myself, right? Yep, so Rowan agrees with me. You never know when you might find one. Yeah, I hear you, Author Goddess. Yay, summer tourney camp! Says Daz, it's great. Can we have a super light teaser for the next Game of Tomes? Not today. Not today. I'm very tired. I just had a big meeting that involved dealing with Game of Tomes, and I kind of burnt out on the topic at the moment. So I don't know. It's going to be another tourney event, right? We're going to attempt to do a lesser pressure event like we attempted for April. I know that the counting system is going to be kick-ass. We're going to be testing a new system for the streamers to use to redeem points. It should have no effect at all, or if so, a minor issue for other people, right? Sorry, not issue is what I meant. It might look a slight bit different for people who are redeeming points during Game of Tomes events, but it will otherwise work pretty much exactly the same, right? And it's 90% automated, so it's going to be great. We're going to be testing it during July. Satrium is making it. He's my freaking hero, and we're going to be, like, you know, just we're going to be counting manually at the same time to make sure it works. It's not necessary, Angstase. It's totally fine to use it. You're one of the 2 who have consciously redeemed it. It's okay. Okay. Claire says, mood. I smeared my already garish drag makeup today. Kind of glad I don't have a can. That sucks. Dad says I'm working out the origins of doppelgangers to explain why they exist in my world. That makes sense. And Cayutan redeemed a less talk, more right. Okay, 10 minutes. We're on. Let's talk more edit in this case, but we can do that. I'm sorry you're not feeling well, Anastasia. That's fair. I'll refund your points for the time being, and, hopefully you'll feel better another day. But thank you for coming anyway. I'm sorry to hear about your girlfriend there, Claire. So there are now 2 slots open that have been paid for by Claire to offer other people chances to showcase. So just, say I'm claiming one of the showcases and put the link in the chat and we're good to go. Hello, Extreme Psy. How are you today? Okay, I gotta get back to work about writing here. To answer your question, Kayetan, should I have 2 MCs or 1? That depends. What's needed for the story? And I get that about since you publish it serially, it becomes difficult to edit afterwards and you kind of have to do it as you go. But you can make changes later. Something like that, though, that's a big change. The Sprint Gang. Just give me a moment here. So I remember where I am and what I'm doing. I will observe the break. I still owe Kayetan 2 minutes of work. So, without interruption. Sure, Stretch, that would be helpful. Stretch is one of my moderators. He says, I've got a link that helps with the shout-out command. If I want it, I can send on Discord if you'd like. Sounds great. And then that way I can work on that after. I should be able to just configure MooBot or Streamlabs bot to do that, but no worries, either way. Kayetan says, I'm thinking about removing the Elven Bounty Hunter and keeping just the human main character. Whose story is it, right? And do you think that it may make it more interesting in an ongoing serial for there to be 2 characters? I kind of did that with Rude West. Like, originally, Graham Walsh was going to be my protagonist, but people really liked Piper, and Piper kind of took on a life of her own. She's Graham's little sister, right? I realized that there was value in having both perspectives, so I told a point of view story from her point of view, and she's kind of also now a protagonist with a strong supporting point of view character in Woodhouse, right? So, and there's useful perspectives for all of them. Graham has been taught about being a gunslinger, which is kind of like a paladin his whole life. So, but he's new and young and untried, right? And he's also a half-elf, right? So that he has all those perspectives. His sister is a full-blooded elf, right? And is, innocent and, like, everything's new, but she's also much more gung-ho than he is, right? Like, he's very much a guy who's prone to taking his time, maybe overthinking things a little bit, right? He doesn't like to make rush decisions unless he's, like, under fire, which he can, right? But he doesn't like to, right? And Piper is impulsive and follows her heart and does what she wants and then considers it afterwards, right? So those 2 perspectives are great. And then Woodhouse is older than they are, and he's, well, okay, prospectively older than they are, and they're human, or he's human, right? So he's more experienced, he's a bit jaded, he's kind of had a rough go in life, right? So he provides a little grounding of realism and occasionally cynical humor that is really interesting. And, you know, I think they all lend something to the story, so I'm going to keep writing about all of them, right? I don't know how that relates to your story, but that's an example of where two or three main characters can be really valuable. If you're not thinking that the different perspectives might really provide more information about what's going on in the overall story, maybe you're better off not doing it. It's my thought. Okay, no fire by Claire, that's good. Cayetan says, I'm thinking, oh no, I already said that, sorry. Sai says, I'm still recovering, managing from low back sciatic pain. That sucks, been there. But it's slowly improving, just lurking with everyone as I work. Quite welcome to do that. Happy to be company for you and have your company. That's awesome. Stretch has got to go, has stuff to do that should have been done hours ago. Hopefully we'll be back before stream ends. Fair enough. Rowan has got it covered, so, you know, thanks for coming and thanks for your help, and see you later. And I'll check that link out as soon as I get the chance. Cayetan says, as I think about it, the elf seems forced. It just doesn't fit with the human. Yeah, then ditch it. Ditch your elf character, for sure. James is unlurking. Rowan is scratching James' ears. Yes, Kitty. Claire says, okay, so I thought of a joke from my Flintlock fantasy world. Question, what's more dangerous than being in a gunslinger's sights? Answer, firing a gunslinger's pistols. That's pretty good, actually. That's pretty good. And if I get out Alright, that's the get back to work growl from the Dragon of Productivity. I will be doing that. I owe at least 2 more minutes of silent working, and I'm off. Hello, Eli. How are you today? Congratulations on your book release. Eli has a book release today. We're going to be rating them when we are done, so that we can join their book release celebration. I, got a heads up about this, so I'm going to be happy to support that. It's awesome, and definitely go check it out. Their book is called Hindsight Being 2020. It is a collection of poems and stories written during the year 2020. The cover is amazing, and you should definitely go check it out. Eli Quink's a good writer. I enjoy their work, and I think you might too. So, hello, Diane. Good to see you. To answer your question, Claire, it could be, but I still owe a couple minutes of uninterrupted writing. Actually, I'm probably done now. I owed a couple minutes of uninterrupted writing to Cayetan because he redeemed the, shut up and write, basically. Less talk, more write. And he redeemed it for 10 minutes so I could get some work done. So, I've done that now. I've done the 10 minutes, so we can do a showcase. Who's up? Yes. Right, a fight to remember. Okay, can you repost the link for me there, Claire? And a reminder, there are still 2 more slots open that have been covered by channel points already if people would like them. So. Eli says, I'm good, I've been sleeping most of the day, but I'm finally awake. Well, glad to see you're awake. I wish I had been sleeping most of the day. I went to bed late and woke up early. I'm taking some sleeping stuff tonight because that's like the 5th night in a row and I'm done. I'm not doing it anymore. Okay. This is A Fight to Remember by Claire. If you want to read along, then you can click the link that she shared in the chat and we'll read it. And, check it out as we go. Are we nearly there, Daddy? Scarlett was so excited for her birthday party that she regressed on the way to the restaurant, and any plans of a romantic evening went up in smoke. Of course, even though it was her 20th birthday, Heartache knew what he was getting into when he started dating the bubbly red fox. Okay, cool. Is this like a furry story? That's cool. Right? He would need to play the caregiver as much as the partner, and tonight was one of those nights he would unironically be called Daddy. Oh, okay, I should have said that in a different tone. Are we there, Daddy? Yeah. He checked the GPS on his phone. Should be just up on our left, Sweet Pea. He pulled into the rundown car park of the even more rundown bar. That is a great sentence. He pulled into the rundown car park of the even more rundown bar. That is good stuff. That is good stuff. I like that. Okay, catching up in just a sec, checking the chat. Yeah, and good luck on sleeping, because for me, there's Star Wars game tonight, says Rowan. She's been sleeping like that too. Yeah, it's time for the valerian root tincture. That's it. Cayetan says, Wattpad. I didn't write anything there since I've had World Anvil manuscripts. Yeah, fair enough. Claire says, there's context missing in the story due to the nature of the commission. All of the characters are furries, and the 2 main characters are foxes. Yeah, I figured that one, okay. And no, you said it right, she legitimately regresses and speaks like a child. Huh. An author goddess says, no! Okay. No what? Never do valerian root tincture? Why not? Not enough honey in the world. That's true. Licking an aspirin does taste better. That is, I can attest to this. It really is horrible tasting. I put it in coffee when I can. I know that seems ironic, but I do. Yeah, I know it's. Ugh, you're right. It is some fucking awful. There's no question about it. Okay. Back to our story. Rundown car park of the even more rundown bar. I love that line. It was suspiciously dingy, but this had to be the place. It had decent reviews for privacy as well as being a local gem, a real diamond in the rough. He went down to the passenger door, or around to the passenger door, and Scarlett sprung out, grabbing onto his hand and shaking like an overexcitable puppy about to loosen its bladder. I I think there's either a hyphen in this word or it's closed together, and you've got the wrong it's, just so you know. Heartache half stumbled, half walked, as Scarlet pulled him through the doors to the dive, and he walked her over to a quiet table at the side to take a seat. See, now that's interesting because that tells me something about the power dynamic of the relationship. Obviously, this is, kind of has some dominant submission overtones, and that's cool. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have any objection to that. This is a mature channel, right? So, and that tells us that without that's a wonderful example of show don't tell. That's well done. Shows people on a doll where the Valerian tincture hurt me. Author Goddess, you saw that too, did you? Whoa! Whoa! What the hell was that? Oh, okay, never mind. Phew! I was like, did my phone just fall into my coffee cup? No, it didn't, thank God. I have my phone here so I can keep an eye on the chat, right? Ha! Okay, sorry, heart attack. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. Yeah, did you see that too there, Author Goddess? Cinema therapy on the observation that Anakin Skywalker has borderline personality disorder? Because I thought that was great, and it gave me a better appreciation of the character when I was completely a not fan of the first 3 movies at all, and I didn't even watch anything past the first of the sequel movies. I mean, I see all the other stuff, right? All the adjacent stuff. Clone Wars and, Rogue One and all that. I watch all that, but, I was like, yeah, the rest of this is crap. Also, I'm a fan of Star Wars Old Republic, but yeah, legit, Rowan, when you were desperate for sleep, any price is worth it. Okay, anyway, babbling, but I'll get back. Okay, interesting, yeah. Yeah, okay, the correct it's IT'(S) is a contraction, meaning it is. It's the only case in the English language where the '(S) does not indicate a possessive, and that's because it is already used by it is, which is fucked up and stupid and confuses non-native English speakers and native English speakers all the time, but it's a thing. Right? So in that case, it would simply be ITS as the possessive. Right? Yeah, I know it makes no sense. It doesn't. It makes no sense. Okay. Okay. The chairs were poorly designed, with a lack of space for tails, meaning that the majority of species would have a hard time getting comfortable. Yeah, you're right. Why wouldn't you just make a chair that has, a bar across the back and keep the opening bit standard? Yeah, fair enough. Okay, still the smells were reassuring, with the only scent of urine coming faintly from the nearby restroom and some kind of woody incense in the air. Sandalwood. Wait, no, it was artificial. That's fantastic too. We are reminded that foxes have better senses of smell than humans do, right? It's probably standard that they can smell urine coming from even the cleanest bathroom. That's cool. He forgot the formula name of this particular chemical, though he knew he had looked it up in the past at Scarlet's request. I would break the paragraph there, because you seem to be going into a different idea here. Everything previous to that in this paragraph is basically describing the scene, and now we're talking about the waitress, so I would break the paragraph there. A waitress soon came over, a hair that looked like she'd seen better days, but was still making a desperate attempt at sex appeal. What a great characterization. Okay, Heartache winced at the smell of pheromones and body odor. Had she just dumped the entire bottle on and called it a shower? Oh, poor bunny. I sympathize with the feeling like they're getting old bunny. I'm a bunny that feels like I'm getting old. Alright. Hi, welcome to Little Greens. I'm Fifi, and I'll be taking your order today. We have a special offer on the soup of the day today, but between you and me, it's just leftovers. Leftovers is one word. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. Her voice was like gravel sweetened with fructose, and she laughed like a pig with the grace of a hyena. Aww. Very, very hard on this poor hair. But it is very clear. You get a real picture. Scarlett seemed to be in on the joke, though, and laughed innocently along. I'll have a burger and fries, Miss Fifi. Miss Fifi, well, ain't you just the sweetest thing? And what will Sir be having today? She said the word like she wanted to taste every drop of it on her tongue. Oh, I'm sorry. Miss Fifi, well, ain't you just the sweetest thing? And what will Sir be having today? She said the word like she wanted to taste every drop of it on her tongue. I would capitalize that S for she. This lady might be a bunny, but her eyes devoured his flesh like a cougar. Oh, dear. Hardy cleared his throat and pointlessly scratched the thick bone plating on top of his head. He may have had no feeling there, but the nervous tic always came around when he was uncomfortable. I think I'll have the eye fillet. I love a man with good taste for his steaks. Personally, I'm more of a rump gal. She seemed to snap back to attention all of a sudden. Well, I'll have those to you quick smart. She half limped, half sashayed towards the bar, and Heartache drew a breath of fresh air now that the awful scent was gone. Yeah, that's probably really hard on a poor fox's sense of smell. Okay. Daddy, do you think they have ice cream we could have later? Scarlett looked up at her caretaker with joyful hope in her eyes. Well, they don't seem to have it on the menu, but I don't know what. Why don't you get up and ask, or go up and ask? Before Heartache could finish his sentence, that's the sprint. For those of you sprinting, let me know what you're working on today, guys. What are you doing? And do you want to share it with us a bit? Do you have any, that way we can cheer you on, right? Okay. Before Heartache finished his sentence, Scarlett was out of her seat and bounding over to the bar. As she approached the front of the dive, a raucous din of laughing and hooting could be heard outside as 3 wolves with leather jackets and greaser pompadours walked in like they own the place. And here's the motorcycle gang. Okay. Scarlett saw that the bar, was unattended and politely sat on a stool just as the 3 wolves spied her. Checking that she was alone, the alpha of the pack leaned against the bar, looking Scarlett up and down with the hunger of an apex predator. Hey, sweet cheeks, what's a pretty little thing doing alone at a place like this? Haven't you got an alpha to look after you? The other wolves nodded behind him with mock concern. Capitalized that. Innocent as ever and oblivious to the ploy, Scarlett shook her head and smiled at them. I have my daddy here. He always looks after me. The alpha wolf looked around dramatically. Well, I don't see him. He drew close. Uncomfortably close. That's okay. I can be your daddy. Scarlett shrunk as he sat next to her, and she whimpered. At this moment, Heartache, capitalized, began to wonder what was taking his little girl so long. He stood up from the uncomfortable chair and peered, ED, you need there, over the corral wall to see the scene that was unfolding at the bar. Furious but cautious, he walked up to the alpha wolf and tapped him on the shoulder. Hey, can I help you? Capital again, the alpha snapped his fingers and his cronies stepped forward like bouncers, forcing Heartache to take a step back and putting him on the defensive. That's my girlfriend you've got there. Can't you see she's uncomfortable? Well, that's why we're here, eh? To help her relax. The way he said it was dripping with suggestion, and Heartache could feel his blood boil. He couldn't fall for the bait, though. Not yet. Not while they were expecting it. Capitalize not. While they were expecting it, because we've been talking in past tense this whole time, and we need to keep doing that. She's not your plaything. The wolves laughed. Yeah, okay. I would put an apostrophe in this fuck's sake, right? Because it's for the sake of fuck, right? And therefore needs a possessive. I realize, grammar on informal speech is weird, but I'm not married to that, though. That's totally a suggestion. For fuck's sake, she's a child. Capitalized he. He began to gape his jaw threateningly, his bony ears flattening against his head. We're snarling now. Cool. The two wolves in front stepped back in confusion, and the alpha scoffed, pulling even closer to Scarlet, almost protectively. Dragging a hand down her back, he chuckled, eyes firmly fixed on Harding. So that's killing offense right there, I think. Well, for a child, she's awfully shapely. As he squeezed her buttocks, oh, now that is murder level, I think, yeah. Okay, as he squeezed her buttocks, she yelped in surprise, and Harding snapped. Yep, perfectly legit. All he could see in the burning blood-red haze of his rage was a clear path to his target, and he leapt with righteous fury at the Alpha's neck, apostrophe on Alpha, never feeling the sweet relief. This is a very long sentence. Okay, never feeling the sweet reliefs. First of all, it would be relief, not reliefs, of tearing flesh, but instead being held back by the hench wolves and pushed to the door. They suggest when you're writing action scenes that you try to use short, choppy sentences to give the impression of faster action, right? No, this isn't a hard and fast rule. Obviously, you default to what I default to, which is you start spewing the stream of consciousness and it all comes together at once, right? And you're also trying to give the impression to your reader that this is all spewing forward at once and it's all happening in the same time, right? But in this case, I would do some breaking up, right? I would, let's see. I would do this. All he could see in the burning blood-red haze of his rage was a clear path to his target. Period. He leapt with righteous fury at the Alpha's neck. Period. That's the get back to me growl, by the way. Dragging the productivity. He never felt the sweet relief of tearing flesh. Period. Instead, he was held back by the hench wolves and pushed to the floor. That's how I would do that. The Alpha stood and joined his posse in kicking the snot out of him. Capital letter, let's break that fancy helmet of his, he cried, stomping at Heartache's exposed skull. Capitalized Heartache needs an apostrophe S. Scarlet began to cry and curled up in a sobbing ball, just as Fifi arrived from the back with a shotgun. The sound of the slide as she pumped the old-style coach gun brought a halt to the onslaught, and the wolves made a bolt for the door. Okay, I love that. I love how, everything was done to kind of regard the hair with pity and dismissal, and then she comes back and she's got a shotgun and she drives the frickin' bikers out the door. Awesome. Pulling Heartache to his feet, she nodded for Scarlet to follow as she led him over to the door. I'm sorry, wish there's more I could do, but I can't have troublemakers in my bar. You're welcome back, but I'm gonna have to ask you to leave for the night. Quotation mark. At the end of night. Coming out of little space, Scarlet tended to Heartache's wounds, apostrophe S, the best she could as they sat on a rock by the road. Baby, you have to be more careful. You knew you couldn't take them, so why try? Okay, this is cool for a couple of reasons. One is that it shows that this is, little space is something they play, right? And that's part of the conditions of their relationship of equality. That's really nice. People can play any games they want. Whatever happens between consenting adults, their business, their rules, no judgment from me. It's awesome. Right? But it's also awesome that she's capable of being a support to Heartache as well. That's nice. Okay. He looked up at the stars peeking through the last of the sunset. Huh, look at that. Just like when we first met. I was drawing the sunset just as you came out to paint the stars. You remember that? She sat down next to him and kissed his bony cheek. Period. Capital O. Of course I do. You got so frustrated that the sunset was nearly gone and we ended up arguing about what sky scene was the prettiest. I argued with my husband the day I met him too. About halfway through I stopped looking at the sky. I just wanted to keep you talking, hear your voice. Looking at you talking passionately about what you loved, I wanted you to talk about me like that. I knew then how I felt, and tonight I feel no different. I love you, Scarlet. She kissed him on the cheek and walked him over to the passenger seat. Well, you can watch me all night on the drive home. I love you too, my hero. Period after hero. That's pretty good. I really like how you've met. Like, clearly, I see what the conditions of the commission were. Right, and I think you've done a good job with it. I was interested in the story. The characterizations were great. The only one who seemed uncharacterized was Heartache, but then again, you're telling it from his perspective, and we don't tend to... I mean, that tells you something about Heartache right there, right? He doesn't tend to be very self-introspective. He kind of goes, I'm me as I am, and there you go, right? And that's cool, right? Because that's a real thing. So that's great. Cayetan says, by the way, Wattpad seems to get a lot of bad press due to the number of bad fanfiction amateur writing published there. Wattpad is a good place to practice being a writer and see if there is an interest in what you're writing. It's also a good place for people to perfect their skills. You know? So yeah, you're going to run into a lot of amateur writing. That's okay. That's kind of what it's for. And some people develop a following who, you know, perhaps have more skill in this, or have a particularly cool idea that people like, or a take on a fanfic that people really enjoy, and that's all fine, right? There's nothing wrong with that, and that's great. Author Goddess says, might as well burn asafoetida as well. Yeah, that stuff is sticky too. It smells like old tires, especially when burnt. It actually enhances the flavor of a lot of Indian food, though, so it's interesting. Dad says, oh, ew, tincture wars. Pepsi syndrome, says Bob, yeah. Close call, Sable. Yeah. Love cinema therapy, says Author Goddess, and so does Amelie. I just discovered it through that Anakin Skywalker video, but it's very cool. AG says their analysis of Inside Out as an example of toxic positivity makes me cry. Right, Mother Gothel for gaslighting. They're funny and genius. That's great. Yeah, I haven't seen that analysis, but I'll look it up now. Okay. More mental health. I'm a little less comfortable with that then, Claire, honestly. And I realize you know, you're writing to the conditions of the commission, but fair enough. Okay, Bob says, it doesn't own an apostrophe. Mnemonic. Yep. Wait, most people can't smell that stuff? What stuff? Author Goddess? Valerian root? Or asafoetida? Yeah, I smell it. You put like just a teeny tiny bit into like a bunch of curry, and it's really good. Daz is still struggling with doppelganger origins. Magical accident. They crawled out of whatever the primordial ooze is, formed and sentient. A cabal of wizards decided that they were going to give themselves the power of unlimited shape change and inadvertently change their species. God of Change decided they wanted a chosen race. Akimoto's is writing on his technical parts of space travel. I would love to see that afterwards, because I'm always interested in that kind of stuff. I'm a super space nerd. I'm sure you know that by now. James says, I'm taking notes for an introductory paragraph to my types of placements from feedback earlier in the week. Excellent. James reported Lapin, 35 words, additions for the sprint, which is excellent. Yeah, apostrophe S's sake, yeah. Claire responded to that with, okay, I'm laughing so hard, but it makes so much sense. You're absolutely right, though. I was trying to make it in slow motion and perspective. When I do my drafts, I write my action scenes like that, too. And then when I read it out loud, I realize it's, you know, that I mean, like, how I think it and how it comes across are two different things, and I constantly am going back over my action scenes, breaking up sentences and paragraphs. Author Goddess, who just did the edit for this, will tell you about breaking up my paragraphs. So, yeah. Claire says, in my opinion, you should never have more than one connecting strike in a fight. It's not actually a game, it's involuntary. You know what? Yeah, I try to minimize that stuff too. There's lots of dodge and avoid and, barely got out of the way and stuff like that in a really intense fight. But if somebody hits you, it's gonna do damage, right? It's gonna do damage. You might, if you're like really trained, be able to fight on after one or two good punches. I know enough people who do martial arts and have most of their lives. Remember that Jamie used to own his own dojo, right? And Aaron has a black belt in Shotokan karate, right? And between the two of them, right? And I did SCA fighting, and I do some, I get quality dojo training on the regular for free from Jamie, right? And I'm told that if you get hit in the ribs and they break, you can carry on, but it really freaking hurts. And you'd only do that if you were like absolutely life and death, right? And things like, I watched Aaron break his toe repeatedly and then walk around on it anyway, because there's nothing they can do about a broken toe. But some things, damage, right? This shit does damage. Daz says, since it's from his perspective, I can see how he thinks in things and how things are described by the narrator. Yeah, he's not thinking about himself much. And, some people do, but obviously Heartache is not one of those people. And that tells us something about him, right? We learn a lot about, he's very observant about other people, though. Claire says, there weren't actually a lot of conditions to the story. I was given 2 characters, asked to showcase Scarlett's mental health and their caretaker relationship, as well as the romantic dynamic, and that was about it. Fair enough. Cayetan says, amateur writing is okay, but I don't think many people use it to practice and get better. From what I saw, they just go with the same bad tropes, cliches. And if it makes them happy, and it makes the people who are reading it happy, go for it. Tropes exist for a reason, and sometimes people really like tropes, right? With too much effort to subvert the expectation of the reader, you end up with Game of Thrones Season 8, right? So, and whatever, right? Like, some people can't take constructive criticism, right? And that can be a problem. It's also a problem in indie writing. Occasionally you run into people who think that they're brilliant and nobody's ever done anything like what they've done before, and what it represents is their limited education and reading. And you cannot tell them that they're anything but brilliant, right? And, well, if other people are reading it, that's none of my business. You want to know what? Tom Clancy writes nothing but tropes, okay? Right? And James Patterson, same thing, right? But people love their shit, they read it. So who am I to judge, right? Dad says, okay, I have an idea. I just need to iron out the nitty-gritty details. Also like that you typoed nerd the nitty-gritty details. I like your autocorrect. I'm all for nerds. James says, bailing out of Sprint, Lappin, 13 words editions. Frustrated. Done for the day? You're tired? Fair enough. Oh, let's talk more right 5 minutes from Barbarossa. Gotcha. Don't you think that there are some bad tropes? Asked Cayetan. Yes, I do. But my opinion of what a bad trope is may not be your opinion of what a bad trope is. Like, there are a lot of tropes that I really don't like. And, but other people do. It's not my place to say that they're wrong. Art is personal, right? It appeals to whoever it's going to appeal to, right? I do get tired of a lot of the same tropes. I have a personal belief that a lot of tropes are publicly damaging, especially in terms of things like racism, any social justice area, right? I really get tired of the fucking damsel in distress. It makes me exhausted, I get tired of the woman in the fridge, right? And I think that these are harmful, right? But it's still their right to write it, and it's still other people's right to enjoy it if that's what they enjoy. You know, those revenge action movies with some serial killer who is morally justified because the people he's murdering in horrible ways killed his wife and he's out for revenge is not going away, right? It's a staple of cinema, right? I hate it. The one time that I saw someone do a good job of gender reversing that, it got constantly, it got savaged by critics. And the thing that pisses me off about that is that all the stuff they typically say, well, you know, women aren't as strong as men, so why should they be? You know what? She trained for like 5 years as a, you know, blood sport kickboxer before she came back to do her revenge. She used things like the corner of walls for leverage and used brass knuckles to hit harder. It was dealt with, right? But that still wasn't good enough for people because they like the idea of men being able to beat up women in every given case, I guess, right? But those movies make millions of dollars, so I'm obviously in the minority. Meh. James says, I used one trope in my Johnny Miller article. Some tropes can be good. Yeah. I play with Western tropes a lot, tropes in Westerns, in my Weird West series, and I do it deliberately, right? So, yeah. Claire says, to expand on the conditions, I wanted to practice writing fight scenes, and if it wasn't clear, most of the story is the fight scene. It's all part and centered around the first and last strike, so I asked permission. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, I'm not ignoring you, Barbarossa. It's just that I know that the sprint timer's running out soon, and I'm going to put up a break timer. So, James said, or Akimoto says, I write Utopian. Cool. That's awesome. James says, I don't like the Doctor Who trope of historic figure is known for something, and it is that is the monster theme of the week. And that's the sprint, guys. Yeah, fair enough. Kayatan says, I don't understand why nowadays fantasy almost always has a romance subplot. I want to write fantasy, but I don't feel comfortable with writing romance. Okay, so you want to talk to Author Goddess, because she is actively subverting those tropes too, right? In all 4 of the Rune Spells series, her female, pointedly protagonist, has no romantic attachments. Not a one. Doesn't want him, not interested, doesn't complete her as a person, doesn't care. She has kids, she doesn't have any romantic attachments. I love it, right? You can indeed do it. I totally understand frustration with that romance subplot, and you can probably blame Hollywood for that. But on the other hand, people like romance. Right? Love does complicate things for people, and so does relationship, and people want to hear about that. I'm not saying you have to, but, you know, and as a matter of fact, we need more stories that don't. Especially for female protagonists, we need more stories where they're not completed by the love of some partner, right? That would be nice. I don't know the woman in the fridge, says Claire. He's someone like a dead wife, you know, someone off screen that is the driving motivation for, you know, the man to do whatever, but has no actual life or, you know, place in the story at all. Rowan says Peppermint was a good example of that. That is exactly the movie I was talking about in terms of a well-done female protagonist revenge action movie, and it was savaged by critics. That wasn't good enough for them. Akimoto says, hee, I quit Disney Plus due to the Gina Carano's firing. Good for you. Screw that. Yes. Hello, Tal. Good to see you. How are you today? Oh, yeah. I'm with you, Claire. Claire says, don't even get me started on the trans women in sports bullshit. Shadows, and hello Shadow Malachi, I haven't heard from you yet today. How are you? Says, not sure if there's a trope in my work or not. Wait, fantasy without romance? Please send book this way. Yes, yes. People want more of that. You're looking for the Rune Spell series by Sarah Berman. That is what you were looking for. No romance, urban fantasy, vamp free since she started writing it. It's great. I'll give you her name and the way she spells it, which is our own author goddess, by the way. That is her name. And the title of the series is The Rune Spells. Urban fantasy, no romance. Awesome. There almost certainly is a trope in your work, Shadow. There's almost certainly tropes in everybody's work. Tropes... Go to a site called TV Tropes, guys, and check it out. You'll recognize a lot of them. You can't avoid tropes entirely, and some of them are really good. They enhance your story, or you can center around them, right? Hello, Toby Does It All. I have never met you before. Welcome to the channel, and I'm glad to see you. Toby says, I've decided to go for a young adult tragedy. I don't see enough fate of the world on teens' shoulders that end bittersweet. You're right. That is a very good point. All the time, they always seem to, vividly succeed, and the victories don't ever seem Pyrrhic enough to me. I think the one exception to that is Buffy. Oh, thank you very much for the follow. Well, that's awesome, Toby. Much appreciated. That's 499 followers, guys. We're one shy of our 500 follower celebration. That's awesome. Yeah, Buffy. Buffy's the only one I know of that didn't have, an everything is hunky-dory at the end ending. Love it. Hollywood, of course, says Cayetan. Why am I not surprised? Rowan says, people often like the concept of love conquers all. It gives them hope. Yeah, and nothing wrong with that. I just don't want it to be the default. I like protagonists who are completely in that don't need other people to complete. That's cool. Okay, so that's the end of the break timer there for the chat. I am going to put a 15-minute break timer up now, gang. I'm going to take a bio, get a cup of coffee, right? And then I'm going to do some more editing when I get back. And I will try to catch up in the chat, but yeah, I'll see you guys in a minute. Feel free to use it as a writing sprint if you want to. I'm back and working in the background. So I'm doing my edits that I got back from Author Goddess. I'll catch up on the chat in when the chat noise comes up here, guys. But you know, it's interesting. She knows grammar better than I do. I am consulting because in some cases I'm not sure the elements of grammar, right? And 80% of the time she's right, and about 20% of the time I am, and that's cool. Because I'm, you know, writing to that one. With one exception, and that is that in Canadian English, this is an interesting thing. In Canadian English, there are hyphenated words that I think don't get hyphenated in American or possibly even British English, right? And that's one of those things like neatly buttoned collar, right? Neatly buttoned is hyphenated. And the reason why is because those two words together become a combination word that is an adjective, right? They're describing that the collar is neatly buttoned, right? But on the other hand, if you wanted to say his collar was neatly buttoned, right, then they wouldn't be hyphenated because neatly becomes an adverb describing how the action of buttoning the collar was done. So it's interesting. And I think it's only Canadian English that does that. But, you know, who could be expected to know Canadian English except for a Canadian, and most Canadian English, or Canadians don't know Canadian English. And that's the sprint. Alright, so catching up on the chat. Extreme Size says, I didn't enjoy Peppermint for whatever reason. However, Colombiana is amazing for similar trope. Awesome, I'll have to check that out. Daz says, my fantasy is not a romance, though it does have relationships. I don't get into the details of the relationships, I just leave them as moments hinted to. Yeah, that's fair enough. And Tal says, I'm good, thanks, Sable. Just started my day here. How are you? I am tired, because once again my sleep was broken up, but I'm in a good mood otherwise, so it's all well. Claws of Forge agrees with me that Rune Spells is awesome. James shared the address for tvtropes.org. This is a good place to learn all about tropes and how they are used in different genres and different forms of literature. It's really interesting. Kayatan says, also A Divided Country, Chapter 1 on World Anvil, is fantasy without romance. Excellent. Feel free to post the link, Kayatan. Yeah, I'm generally in agreement with Claire. Claire says, personally, I think there shouldn't be gendered sports because so far as an extreme athlete, I've basically been forced to box myself as a women's category athlete, which invites its own problems. The kicker is that the category I compete in is mixed open only anyway. Yeah, I see. Okay. Fuck that stupid thing again. Okay, so honestly, I would argue that sports should be divided by weight category and size, right? I think that a lot of this stuff about, women aren't as strong, women aren't as, has to do with women aren't as big, right? On a global average. But this does not mean that individual women are not as strong or stronger than individual men. Let's just look at Ronda Rousey, okay? She would kick the ass of any man I know, including Jamie, who had his own dojo, okay? Right? So, it's really general to do that and kind of dismissive to different genders. And would I be fine with the fact that as a 5-foot-tall woman, right, I might end up with competing with 5-foot-tall guys? Sure, I can. I do it in martial arts classes. I do it in SCA fighting. Why the hell wouldn't I want to do it in other sports too? It's, it just makes no sense to me. And I think it's personally a holdover of Victorian genderism. And, if we would just ditch that nonsense, this would be a total non-issue. But we all know that that's not really what it's about, right? It's about limiting the rights of trans people once again and trying to create a moral panic because ew, or something. I don't know. Akimoto says, I think if you write without any tropes, you write an encyclopedia. Legit. And of course, because I didn't check it right away, I don't know what Sai was hyping. Loria says, and hi, good to see you. Whedon has apparently many problems, but he really knows how to write. Yep, also legit. I'm not saying that Whedon is a brilliant, wonderful model of a human being, but yeah, he writes some good stuff. Rowan says, remember folks, it's not arson if you're making s'mores while I'm gone. Yep. I see what you say there, Claire, about your bone structure as male to assigned male at birth trans woman, and that's all legit. Yes, in some cases bone structure might on average be stronger, but ligaments will be weaker. Also, you are more prone to osteoporosis than most, than even women who were assigned female at birth. So, I think all that kind of shit is pointless and stupid. Look, I have a really strong bone structure too, okay? And it comes from the fact that I worked out really hard when I was a teenager, and about the time my bone structure was developing. I'm heavier than I look for my height, and I'm stronger than women of my height typically are. So, yeah. And also, besides, when did sports stop being about having fun and socializing? Yeah, I think the whole thing's stupid. I do. But we know that's not what it's really about. It sounds reasonable, but that's not their goal. Yeah. Alright, Kayatan, sleep well. Oh, there's the wall of connectivity. I'll be switching the screen over now. Go back to the sprints. I'm gonna... What's left in the chat here? Oh, good night, Akimoto's. Sleep well. Hi, Moon. Good to see you. You're awake. Yay! Again, I'm totally in agreement with you, Claire. Oh, did I reactivate my closed captioning? I did. Okay. Okay. Moon says, I'm annoyed at the CSS theme because indentation changes the font and I'm confused. I don't understand that. That's bizarre. Must be an important that you're running up against there somehow. Heh. James says, I'm counting tropes of future scene. I'm up to one. Dystopia is a trope in and of itself. Claire says, I make a point of using exactly the right trope for my story. I don't subvert them, but I use the mechanical and not the artistic device. It's just like saying every wheel has to be part of a car. No, I want to try something new. The wheel has a purpose, but no flavor, so I make the first motorcycle. I appreciate that attitude, and I tend to treat it like that too. You're hilarious, Barbarossa. Are you okay? Do you need a hug? Coffee? 14 points on trying to promote world peace and stability through the use of self-determinism and democracy written by Woodrow Wilson? Cookies? I'm tired. You're right, I'm not sleeping well. Part of it is that it's just the time of year. I'm not getting enough sunlight. And part of the reason why I'm not getting enough sunlight is because I'm really busy and I need it at this time of year. And I haven't been good about turning on my sun lamp as a substitute. Part of it is because I have to talk to people who are in time zones that are not really conjunctive to mine, and I end up being up late, but after such conversations I need a couple hours to wind down before I can sleep, so that's part of it. And I have to do it because I'm planning the Writer's Conduit right now, and that, you know, we're at a crunch point where things have to be done, so it's, you know, it's just the way it is, right? And then there's also other people in the UK that I'm talking to about other things, and, you know, so that's part of the problem. Yeah, right. But part of the problem is just the time of year. I never sleep well, you know, when things are shifting over and when I don't get enough sunlight, right? Thanks for the hug, guys. Rowan says, hunting for my red satin dress. Nice. Shadow says, interesting dark fantasy trope is that it has some form of racism in it, but mine does not. Mine has something that is quite unique, I believe. Cool. Rowan says, you should see big guys try to pick up either me or Sable because we have dense bones. It's funny because we are considerably heavier than they expect. Being 5 feet tall, it used to be a thing that guys would come up and pick me up, whether I wanted them to or not. So I would deliberately kind of go dead weight because I hate that. And then they would go, ooh! And I was like, yeah, next time ask. You're heavier than you look. Yeah, I am. It's just the base spiral theme. 3 tropes then, says James. Thanks, Sable. You're welcome. Delayed sleep phase syndrome is probably at work, says Moon. I'll have to look up the specifics of that, yes. Speaking of sun lamps, I'm turning mine on. It hurts my eyes a bit, though. Yeah. Gloria says, wow, you were living in a European time zone there. Pretty much. Claire says, even though I'm in Canada Pacific time, right? Okay. Muscle weighs more than fat. Yes, it does, Daz. And I have fat, but I have a fair bit of muscle underneath it. It's kind of biker muscle, really. Laria says, that would be hard. It's almost midnight here, so yeah. And Claire says, I think the characters in Stasis compound trope, sealed evil in a can, sealed hero in a can, sealed badass in a can, are my favorites because while they will always be recognizable, the device is the can itself, not the personality or nature of the thing sealed in the can. Yeah, that's fun. Claire says, I've been consensually wrestling helicoptered. It was fun. I was about 5'8" at the time, but this guy was huge. That's cool. If it's consensual and you're having fun, excellent. I'm getting back to work now, guys. I think I'm caught up. Author Goddess preps for guilting hubs. Okay. I see. And Eli's setting up for their stream, so we can go there after. Yep. It's almost 3 o'clock. By the way, still 2 showcase slots left open that Claire has paid for. And you know what? If you don't want to do it, we'll roll it over to tomorrow. It's fine. I kind of want to show a picture for my challenge article to Sable, but she is busy. Go for it, Barbarossa. We'll look at it at the next break. Ah. Was that a paragraph there? I think it was. Yeah. Thanks for catching the spelling mistake there, AG. Oh, I changed that mark here, didn't I? Imperial Navy. Who me what, says Author Goddess? Thank you for catching the spelling mistake on Resplendent. I appreciate that. You have a good eye. Nope, double mithril presence, okay? Yep, absolutely. We're going to use that as one of the redeems there, Claire. That makes sense. Claire says it was the middle of the night in public and he just came up to me and asked, can I, like, pick you up over my shoulders and spin you around? Perfectly legitimate. That's absolutely cool. Somebody wants to do that? Ask me. It's fun. Yep. James shows us his tropes. There is one for regression of technology, but I don't remember what it's called there. You know what? You can search, though. On TV Tropes, they have a search thing at the top, and you can actually search the site and probably find it. Type it in, regression of technology, so you can find it. Or, you know. Barbarossa asks, is it true that the Avalonian Navy is also an Air Force? Legit, the Avalonian Imperial Navy is a space navy and therefore acts in part like a navy. It's structured like a navy, and that's why we call it a space navy. But it also has traits in common with with an air force. Yes, that's absolutely true. And the combination of how things fly in my space is a bit like sailing and a bit like flying, and I use both metaphors. It's a good question. Thank you for asking it. Was that change a sentence there? No. Yeah, she just doesn't want to have to fix it later when she does edits for you, says Auto Goddess. Thanks, Barbarossa. I think you're pretty awesome, too. I don't actually know that one, Claire. Claire says, James, knowing TV tropes, it will have some kind of context-derived flavor text name, like the CD in the dust. If someone gets that reference, huge props. I don't. You think I'd know all the tropes by now, right? But I don't. Because there's too many. I don't call you to task. Yeah, you're right. That's a good place to split the paragraph. Rowan's like, arg, hate getting old. Can't remember where I had red satin dress last, and now I want to wear it. Damn it. Rowan looks pretty damn good in that red satin dress, I'm just saying. There's a picture of her in it somewhere around. Hello, Macaro. How are you? Good to see you. I think I have a showcase folder on. I do. I have not yet looked at your work-in-progress uniform. Would you like me to do it? If so, it may help if you reshare the link for me. And how are you today? Claire says, all they could remember of entertainment technology in the Mortal Engine setting were things like CDs, obsolete information storage devices outside our means to decode. Neat. Makara's on vacation. Nice! Vacation is good. Yeah, CDs. Got it. And he shared it. Great. Okay, we'll look at some stuff here as soon as the sprint is done. Right, I was going to look up that one. Commas. the sprint. Okay. I think I may have found that. Maybe not. Okay. Let's do the views of some art. First we're gonna, let's see, first we'll look at Barbarossa's nobleware. Oh wow, that's nice. The nobility of Morcanen, unlike other countries of Benalt, are not privy to the niceties and luxuries of sterling silver and glittering gold. And why would they be, is the word you need there. They are men and women of honor and valor in a place where a sword means more than a ring. Although, I would argue that the Norse were pretty big on their wearable trinkets, and, you know, they're definitely warrior culture, so that's a thought. Clothing accessory, Morcanen, related ethnicities, Morcanen, owning organization, Morcanen, rarity. Morcanen nobleware is considered a rarity due in part to the quality and amount of fabric and jewelry required in noble status. Weighs 7 to 10 pounds. I like the torques. Those are torques, by the way. The fur-lined coat, the fur on the legs. It's great. Okay, good night, Laria. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I hope you sleep well. Construction, material and components. Male style. I might call it masculine style. You're off, Macaro? No. Don't take off yet. I want to do your showcase first. Do I need to look at it first? Then, because Barbarossa... Oh, you're waving at Laria. Okay. I'm like, no, don't take off, because you, like, redeemed that ages ago. Okay, torque like this. Actually, it's a Celtic necklace. TORC. It's a band you wear not entirely around your neck, right? Like, because it leaves this spot open, and it usually is a bit flexible, so you can shape it, and it's, you know, often used in place of a crown or a circlet in the Celtic cultures. Okay. I would personally say masculine and feminine style myself. I know what it is, but apparently I didn't know how to spell it. It's okay. You're talking about the other kind of torque, which means to, like, give a torque on the wrench, right? Like that, which is fair enough. Okay. The clothing often seen and used by the male nobility of Morcanen are made of thick wools, leathers, and furs, with decorations such as cultural patterns sewn into the designs. More specific, what cultural patterns? There's very little use of jewelry outside of circlets, torques, rings, and bangles. That makes sense. That makes sense, because that's the kind of thing that, you know, Norse wears. Yeah, TORC is the kind of torque you wear around your neck, and TORQUE is how you spell torque or wrench, twisting things. Okay, I guess now the QUE is also fine. Alright. There we go. Meh. English is a living language. It changes all the time. I'm never going to get used to stupid. I will die calling it more stupid. They smacked me around enough in school for that, so... Not literally, figuratively, but... Words are weird. Constantly changing. Bah, says Barbarossa. Who needs them? I prefer numbers. Okay. Nobleware in Morcanen is a tri-layered outfit. Okay, no, I'm sorry, I missed... Okay, coronet-style crowns are reserved only for the high royal family of Morcanen, as it is a status symbol of the family's power. Also, impractical to wear under a helmet. Okay, nobleware in Morcanen is a tri-layered outfit, which is probably why that developed, by the way. Starting with a white linen or silk undertunic. You need an R in undertunic before the T typo. That is worn under a gambesson. The gambesson can vary in color depending on the choice of the noble or the rank in society. Very rarely, nobles will decorate this with their familial colors due to the fact that these are saved for armor or coats of arms. Over the gambesson is a thick wool tunic which bears other bear, B-E-A-R-S, I believe. A green, blue, yellow, or black color. This tunic, despite being woolen, is purely decorative with design patterns and stylish flourishes sewn into the fabric to adorn it. For leggings, the nobility wear linen under-trousers with wool over-trousers. They also wear knee-high leather boots accentuated with fur cuffs. These boots also utilize a system of leather laces to tighten the boot. As for cloaks, they are made of animal hide with extra fur padding placed around the neck or ruff and held with gold or sterling silver chain. This is mainly to help. You don't use do there. This is mainly to help accentuate the torque, which was a common noble neck piece. Torques are generally made of gold and wrap around. Okay, generally made of gold, comma, and wrap around the neck, comma, with the end pieces displaying an animal head, commonly a bird, lion, or dragon. Okay, lion, bird, or dragon. Cool. And you haven't done the female fashion sense yet. It's fine. Significance. Morcanen culture is heavily based around the concepts of meritocracy and warrior ethos. Due to this, much of the clothing styles amongst nobility still maintain a slight fighter mentality. Their heavy use of layers is an aspect of cloth protection, as well as the use of concealable metal jewelry around the fingers, wrists, upper arm, and neck. These elements are not by coincidence, as they match with common places of armor and protection in knights and soldiers, yeah, that's true, as well as heavy leather cloaks, nobility wear clothing that can easily defend them in a duel or fight at any time should one take place. This is off to a good start. I'd like to hear more about the women's fashion, of course, but I understand the practicality of what you're doing there, and it's cool. I like your use of the saffron yellow. That's really neat. I'm sure you are probably intending to say something about dyes as well for the clothing. That kind of saffron yellow is difficult to produce and therefore expensive and therefore reserved for the highest nobility. So that's great. Claire's got a point. It's probably the origin of the mechanical term torque, T-O-R-C, because, well, what kind of force does the flexibility provide? Yep, you have to make the twisted band of metal by torquing it. So, that could be. I don't know. Author goddess. Hooked on phonics works for me. Or worked for me. Totally spelled wrong, which is hilarious. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that business. That would work if English made any fucking sense, but it doesn't. Okay, that is cool. I like where you're going with that, Barbarossa. Your figs look great. Also to the white belt, hard to clean. Yep, bleaching and cleaning, very expensive. Okay, now we're going to look at Makaro's picture from last time. Which was it? Their work-in-progress uniform. Which was saved from last Thursday, I believe. And, oh wow, that's cool. A point of note, that makes 3. So we're done for showcases and edits for this stream, and I will move Claire's open slot to next time if she wants, so that somebody else can showcase themselves, or I will refund her points if she prefers. Yeah. Rowan says the process of making white leather is difficult and long. Yep. Yay, she read my thing. I'm so happy. Barbarossa, your stuff's cool. I like reading her stuff. Oh, the goddess is like, yeah, just pee on it. She knows that. She knows it's not that simple. She's done she's done SCA. She's done enough research. She knows, right? She's just making a joke because yes, urine is used in the process. As Rowan says, not quite that simple. Urine needs saved and let sit to make ammonia. Yep, pee on it. Yep. I would like to use it when I'm on stream, so refund will be good. Okay, I will do that right now. Thank you very much for your kind gesture to other people there, Claire. I really appreciate it. I'll be earlier one and showcase some ones. Okay, so one is spent. And one is returned. There we go. Okay. I like the looks of this just off the cuff there, Mikaro. It's clearly designed for a combination of practicality and looks. This is the railgun option, isn't it? The railgun rifle that they include at Hero Forge. I was so excited when I found the shock rifle in their list of in their rifle stuff. Like, I was like, wow, that's great, because I have a thing in my Weird West setting called a voltaic rifle, and that's how it works. It's basically a charge of electricity, and it zaps you, right, like a superpowered taser, right? So, and it requires more space than a taser does, because a lot of the technology to make tasers and electronics has been lost due to a change in the way physics works. So it's yeah, right? So I basically steampunked it out, made it all brass and copper and shit, and that's what I'm using. It's pretty cool. So, okay. So I was very happy about that. No railgun, just a heavy shield? Oh, I see. I'm just looking at the angle. This looked like a magazine stock to me from the angle. Still cool. Makara says, I made several variants with varying weapon loadouts since normally you wouldn't pack it all at the same time. Yeah, I imagine not. I see we have a rifle here with a vented rifle, a pistol, a spear. I would love to see a 25k point redeemed, says Claire. Probably some kind of permanent impact on the stream, just a thought. I'll think about it. I still haven't really come up with anything. If you guys have ideas, though, let me know. Oh, it's just the picture. This is really neat. I like the, you know, obviously we have protection against dust. We don't have a helmet. That is something I'm not sure why of. Who are these guys anyway? They look like science fiction-y types. Rifle, spear, machete, pistol, shield. Ah, I see the machete now too. It's on his hip, right? That's cool. Or a graphic design that gets left up for a week, like a small ad space kind of thing, or a shout out. That's cool. They're super serum troops. Ah, we have super soldiers. Okay, that makes sense. Good night, James. Sleep well. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you tomorrow. So helmets have become more a nuisance. Legit. The thing about helmets is that you have to balance visibility and weight with head protection. If they have like a skull made of like super bone or something, then maybe it is more of a nuisance. That's legit. Or maybe they have a lighter helmet, but ultimately, you know, crushing your head means things are over, right? Unless they regenerate, that might be a thing too. But then if they regenerate and their brain is damaged, does that mean that they like lose their memories as brain matter is damaged, or skills that they have? because that's like kind of physically stored with the use of proteins on your brain, right? So it's just a question. Acid green overlay. Yes, it's very cool. Rowan is searching for her red dress. I don't know why she's obsessed with her red dress right now, but fair enough. We'll see in a bit. I like it. I like this very much. I like the combination too of like I recognize that this was Elf Armor and these are like part of the Elf Armor shoes, and I remember them because they kind of look like hooves. They're kind of neat. But then you've got more like, you know, this is a different set of these are different, more modern sets of armor, so that's kind of neat. The shield looks very tech. It's very cool. I would not want to encounter these guys. They look dangerous. I like the scar on his eyebrow. That's cool too. It's a nice touch. Makara says, only recently do they also face human opposition. Normally they just face alien animals, so less of a concern about a head crush. Ah. Okay, makes sense. Her, but you can't see in this outfit. Oh, okay. You're right. Thank you for not making unnecessarily bulging boobs. Because armor kind of flattens that out, in part for safety and maneuverability. That's great. Big cats bite skulls, says Autogonis. That's a good point. Claire says, I like the tenet of the worship of the god Ulrich in the Warhammer fantasy setting, which states that the use of helmets and crossbows, advantages that don't require training, are not Ulrich's way. For all I know, there's some head protection in terms of plating underneath this outfit, too. The Civi outfit I spent way too much time on for reference. Okay. Oh, I see. Cool. I like that she has taken all of her piercings off to go to war. That is practical. Thank you. Has they COVID? Oh, the mask. Good question. That is the first time I've seen the basic peasant trousers made to look cool at all. That looks great. I like it. I like the metallic kind of sheen to the gloves and the pants and the shoes. Black lung powder. Alien fungus spores. Ah. That is really cool. Okay, good work, Macaro. I like that a lot. I totally see where you're going with it. Again, I still question the lack of a helmet, but, you know, I've explained it in the text, it's fine. It's something that's a big pet peeve of mine in Hollywood movies, too. The protagonists are always taking off their fucking helmets so you can see their face because it's convenient for the camera. Blue color is a mana potion. Yeah, but I get it doesn't look good, maybe, so... Yeah, that's really cool. I know that game, Civilization Beyond Earth, similar to Miasma. Alright, we are at 3:30. The showcases are done. It's time to work now. We should have about 2 more sprints, I think. I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, because we're about to do a break timer, but... Makara says similar but less lethal to the black spores from Outriders, a big inspiration. And Author Goddess points out our lungs really are a weak point. Yep, one of our most vulnerable points. And our filter system to protect them really isn't great. and that's the sprint. Basic as fuck. Yep. Yeah, it is. Technically, this is the break, but since I've been chattering away, I think I'm going to start working. I hope you guys don't mind. I will continue to pay attention to the chat, though. Work away, says Daz. Claire says, I would argue that humans in the setting they have always encountered that kind of threat would have evolved differently. But how do you know it isn't the space opera? Maybe it is an alien planet. Or maybe it's a new thing that mutated on Earth and went out of control. I mean, that happens, you know. Do you know that we have evolved a bacteria, a fungus, and a, what is it? A bacteria, a fungus, and an amoeba that all eat plastic. They're not doing it fast enough, but they're doing it. Can't have existed until there was plastic. So, yeah. You're right, I don't know why I didn't put that way. I'm not saying it's not, I'm just providing an alternative concept. It just made me think, yeah, that makes sense. You know, and yeah, if it's existed for a while, yeah. You know, adaptations will occur, right? So Yeah, Claire, you're right. A lot of settings with humans don't take into account that humans, as they are in our world, wouldn't survive. That's not an incorrect observation. But I mean, part of the fun of doing alternative settings is, you know, figuring out how we would survive, I think. But then we have to go there, not like be born there. Hello there, Pell Mell. Nice to meet you. Welcome to the channel. We're doing writing sprints currently. This is a show where I answer questions about writing, and people can use channel points to... Yeah, because I don't think I've seen you before. So, yeah. People can use channel points to have me have a look at or showcase their stuff. I do minor editing in the process, and otherwise I work on my writing and my editing. Currently I'm doing some fine point editing. I got this back from my editor, and I am now double checking, and which is why I look like I'm reading on screen. I'm just double checking some things in grammar guides. So, and we have about half an hour of the stream left to go. Thanks for coming to check it out. And how are you today? And are you a writer? And is there something you're working on? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. I don't have both windows captured, but what I'm doing currently is looking through my Word document that I got back from Author Goddess, who did my editing, and I'm double checking it against my World Anvil Manuscripts document, which is where I have published chapters serially for my patrons, and where I'm going to be taking the final copy from, which I'm then going to format from there. And we're down to the nitty-gritty about you missed deleting a space here, you know, there's a comma here, right? So it's almost ready. It's almost ready. Kickstarter for this in June, and publication in September. And I'm very, very excited about it. So. Well, I'm in the process of telling people about the cool stuff going on. Right, we're now 1 follower shy of 500 followers. At 500 followers, I'm going to do a celebratory stream. Right, it'll be entirely dedicated to that. I'll probably do some reading of my stuff, maybe. I'll do, you know, maybe a little music. And we'll have raffles. There are a bunch of authors in our community who have offered to kindly donate their work for raffle prizes, including our very own Shy Red Fox, Amy Winters-Voss, Laura VAB, Eli Quake, right? And you know him as ECC Books, E. Christopher Clark, right? And they are offering up copies of their stuff that they're going to send to winners, and so I really appreciate that. I'll be offering stuff as well. So multiple raffles, and it'll be fun. Probably last about 3 hours, and I'll try to do it on a day I don't normally stream, so that it doesn't actually interfere with the schedule. And then after that, depending on polls, I will probably make some subscriber-only content available after that point, which I don't currently have. And you guys can tell me what you want to see. So yeah, it's going to be fun. You know, I changed that, and then I changed it back. Where the hell is that? Oh, right, the mystery card. I think you put a comment too. No. But there should be. See, this is... Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about here, AG. Chandra caught a glimpse of crates, a ballista, and a passageway full of finely carved doors, right? In Canadian English, that is hyphenated, right? And it's important, just, you know, letting you know for future editing, if you're editing someone who is writing in Canadian English. If they're Canadian and they're writing in American English, you should change it, right? But in Canadian English, it is hyphenated because it's an adjective that is used as a, like, together as one word to describe the doors, right? Finely carved doors. It's the doors, you know, it describes the doors. But if you put it after, right, and a passageway full of doors that were finely carved, those wouldn't be hyphenated, because then it becomes an adverb. Finally becomes an adverb describing the carving on the doors. It's a bit confusing. It's weird. Nice. Rowan says, damn it, no red dress. Found the black velvet dress and gold dress. They might have to go with the gold and save the green for toy soldiers. Cool. Yeah, that would suit Von Vin. Should also, like, put flowers in your hair and shit. And that, by the way, that whole speech about the differences in Canadian English was also a little writing tip for everybody else. So, yeah. This way. Okay. Author Goddess says, yeah, in U.S. English, it kind of depends on a combination of specific style, commonality of use, and author's choice. Fair enough. No, but I think you're right, because it's not the first time I've been corrected about that. Do you remember the time that okay, you remember how I went off about once I wrote this article of Pathos, and there was this person who said I was an idiot, and they were doing a takedown article, right? Basically explaining why I'm an idiot. The whole point of the article was to rip me, right? One of the things they did was include one of those, hyphenated adjectives, which are perfectly correct for Canadian English, and put sick beside it. Right, and I was so mad because I was trying really hard to write in American English, but I was educated in a Canadian school, right? And they were using it as a way to show I was stupid, right? And I got so frustrated, and that's when I decided that from then on I was writing pointedly in Canadian English whenever possible, unless the writing guidelines specifically told me otherwise, and I was going to stop being considerate, right? So, yeah. Right, so that's the only reason why I notice or care, right? So yeah, it's a funny thing, and it's something that a lot of people don't know. A lot of Canadians don't know, by the way. 90% of Canadians don't know, I'm sure. So I'm foolish. Yeah, but there you are. I changed my spell check settings to UK English so I wouldn't try to correct the spelling. That's legit. Do you know there is actually a Canadian English setting in Word? Although it screws up the its at the beginning of a sentence, right? It's been like that since they did the program. If you say, it's a long way down, at the beginning of a sentence like this, it'll tell you that's wrong in the Canadian English, where the IT apostrophe S, even though IT apostrophe S is a contraction for, and not a possessive in that case, right? It will tell you to use this instead, and vice versa. And it's been like that ever since they created the program. But if you type it like this, like Jenny thought, Jenny thought, well, it's a long way down. They will mark that as being correct, and in 30 or 40 years they've not fixed this. So that's my only thing about their Canadian English dictionary there. It's hilarious. Okay. Eli says I'm going to poof off to finish stream prep. Thank you for the stream, Sable. Thank you for hanging out with me, Eli, and we will see you in about 15 minutes. Have fun. Author Goddess says English just sucks for editing. Yes, it does. It makes no fucking sense, for one thing. Half the stuff is at least partially salic choices. Yep, shake my head. Yep, totally true, right? And then every dialect of English is different too. Canadians write differently from the UK, which writes differently from the United States, which writes differently from Australia, and I think even New Zealand and Tasmania don't write the same way Oz does. So Tal might know better than that about that one, but it's funny. Bye, Daz. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you tomorrow probably, or later tonight in somebody else's stream. Yeah, it's a shit show. English is a shit show. But your eye is really good. You catch on to things like, this would be a good place to break the sentence. Oh, there's accidentally 2 spaces after this period. Yeah, as does South Africa. Yeah, everybody has their own, grammatical dialect as well as their spoken dialect. It's fucked up. Oh, you were saying bye to Eli. Oh, okay. Okay. Yes, you're right. I should move that. Or should I? Did I? Wait a minute. I already corrected that in this version. Okay. Because you're right. And that's the sprint. Author says that's why I default first to author's choice and then to AP style, which is used for easy reading in news magazines. Makes sense. I use Strunk and White and the elements of grammar, but I don't generally use it specifically until I get to this stage. You have a great eye. It's really good. You know, things like this, right? Moving the dash here. Yeah, that's, you know, you're right. And I had done it between the time I gave you this and the time that you gave it back, which is cool. You know, and like I said, 80% of the time you're right and I'm wrong. So it's awesome. You do good work. I'm really pleased, actually. Plus your notes were very, very helpful. It solved a lot of points of frustration and difficulty I've been having with some of the development issues for literally years. So thank you very much for that. Would totally recommend your service. So there you go. She's like, clients I'm taking. Yeah, this is a good place to break that, you're right. Yep, and I should break that there too. Another double. The only time I ever have any real issues is an uncomfortable love of odd punctuation. Legit. Are you pointing out my semicolons, by the way? Am I being called out for that? So you've got a good eye, you catch them, it's great. Very helpful. Daz is laughing at me now, as well she should. I changed that back. Okay. When half the punctuation is em dashes and ellipses, that's just not how it works. Yeah, it's true. last sprint, guys, and then we will be raiding Eli to celebrate their book release, which I am very excited about. Rowan says, I am now super glamorous, gold dress, wool socks, and rubber ducky boots because I am also practical. You're hilarious, Rowan. That's great. Change this because I made that more consistent. The C and the K are both used in Canadian spelling. It's one of those schizophrenic things that we tend to do with our English. Sometimes it looks American, sometimes it looks British. Both are legitimate. So, but I think that's more commonly used now, so I chose to switch it. The reason why it wasn't written that way in the first place is because this okay, this book, it started being written on a PC in WordPerfect. Then it was transferred to Microsoft Works. Then it was transferred to Microsoft Word. Then it was transferred to the Office emulator program on my BlackBerry. Then it was transferred back to Microsoft Word. And then Office for Android, and then World End. So, trying to make the punctuation and the spelling consistent has been kind of a shit show. Okay. Yeah, semicolons is an odd one, says Author Goddess, but only because it can be appropriate for the sentence, but it is still an odd punctuation to use in genre fiction, so it gets used more than people may be used to reading it, which pulls the reader out of the story. Legitimate critique, right? Author Goddess says that doc has traveled more than the entire population of the Earth during 2020. Yes, it has done some, yeah, it's been around. The journey of words is real, says Daz. Oh yeah. I've heard of a story getting around, but I know, right? It's, yeah. Did I make him still a midshipman, or had he been promoted to second lieutenant by now? He said he just passed the bar. Rowan says, someone found me an extra whole hour before regular Star Wars game. That's cool. Okay. Back here. Yes, he just passed the bar, so he is a second lieutenant or an ensign. Alright, so I'm going to call him ensign here. Hug, Barbarossa. Then hugs. Okay. Very cool, considering how busy he is. Yeah. That is true. This looks like a great place to stop at the end of the chapter. Good timing. I like it when that works out. Alright, and that is the end of my edits for chapter 4. It says we have 8 minutes left to the sprint, but it is also 4 o'clock. Do you guys want to wait out the rest of the 8 minutes, or do you guys want me to put things into shutdown mode now and go raid Eli? While I'm taking a break, I'll take a moment to tell you about some of the stuff coming up. So, like I said, 1 follower shy of our 500 followers. So I think I'm gonna time that stream for somewhere near the end of the month. Just to make sure that we're covered, and let's see here. I guess I'll wait till we have it before I schedule it for sure. I'm sure you guys don't want to wait too long after that to do it. I don't want to wait too long after that to do it. But odds are good that it will be either the 17th or the 24th. Right, then coming up after that, on June the 1st, there will be a launch stream for my Kickstarter for A Few Good Elves. Hopefully hopefully the cover art will be done by then. I'm kind of crossing my fingers on that one, because Chaotica is working really hard, but there was a lot. So, and you know, she was sick too with the COVID shots and everything else. So, you know, we gotta be patient. Things take more time these days. But we're gonna try to launch the Kickstarter on June the 1st. We're gonna do a big celebration stream. I'm hoping that some of my writer friends will come on and talk to me about what they're up to and about different aspects of genre, right? But I haven't laid out the specifics yet. Either way, should be fun, more giveaways, you know, stuff like that. And June 1st, of course, yeah, the Kickstarter will run for the month of June. There will be hardcover and paperbacks available. There will be signed hardcover and paperbacks available. At the higher level tiers, I will be giving away some of the original proofs that have been signed, right? Other books that I've written may also be available on the Kickstarter. Like, I'm pretty sure one of the things I might offer will be a complete package of everything I've done so far, right? It won't be cheap. I won't lie. That's, you know, but it'll be there, right? Or the ebook package, which will be considerably cheaper, right? There will probably be bookmarks. Bookmarks are easy to do, and they're fun, and they're nice little collector's items, so that will be cool. I'm hoping to have limited edition prints of the cover art and also some of the specifically commissioned art for the Toy Soldier Saga, including, you know, Jamie Buckley's design for Lorna Sparkling Sky, Aaron Sedal's image of Shondar and the Queen's Dirk, right? Or it could be Shondar the Blind Justice. It's probably more accurate later. And the little fighter craft that is the cover page, right? There's gonna be lots of stuff, right? So, you know, and if you just want to throw in a few bucks to support too, that's always handy. You know, ebooks will be available, right? Some of the stories that have already been written will be available in ebook, right? Yeah, it should have something for everybody. So, other than that, let's see. So tomorrow I'll be back with Diane Actually Writes. That starts at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. UTC, and that's strictly writing sprints, no showcases. So if you came here to work and you found my yapping distracting, I'm a little less yappy. So, you know, that's what we're there for. Friday, Erin will be back with Ask an Old GM, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and 8 p.m. UTC. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Thanks for all the support. If you're new here, since I know there are a bunch of people who were new who came in, my name is Diane Morrison. I'm also known online and in the World Anvil community as Sable Aradia, and I also write pagan books under that name, Sable Aradia, and I write science fiction and fantasy under Diane Morrison. My worlds are here at World Anvil. This is the one I'm working on currently, the Toy Soldier Saga. Actually, I think it's just Toy Soldier, isn't it? Yes, it is, because I'm the fool. Okay, Toy Soldier, trying to save myself time. And then the other one is a weird Western setting called, appropriately, the Weird West. So, thanks everyone for joining me today, and I will hopefully see you tomorrow. We're going to raid Eli. Don't forget that our raid shout is prepare to be boarded, because we are the Sable's privateers. Let's help Eli kick off their book launch with style, shall we? Have a good time zone, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.